Hello everyone, this is your instructor Angelito Conanan Jr. or Sir Gel Conanan. And we're going to talk about in this video the first lesson with regards sa ating subject na CC 101. So in Unit 1, we will going to discuss the programming concepts. It is all about basic fundamentals na kailangan nating matandaan or matutunan before we jump in sa pagpo-program. So, Unit 1 has lessons or learning objectives. Okay, so first, we will define software and hardware. Then, we will going to identify types of programmers. Next is I'm going to explain to you the steps of problem solving. Then identify the elements of programming. And lastly, classify the programming paradigms. Okay. Computers seems pretty intelligent machine. So we use computers from our from daily basis. So we use computers in a lot of things, from businesses, education, entertainment, and some sort of stuff. So napakadaming gamit ng computer. And computers become intelligent machine because of its software. Dahil dun sa mga gumawa ng software na yun, nag-build ng computer na yun. And of course, the hardware itself. So, pretty much useless ang isang computer kung walang software. Wala tayong ginagamit na software. And likewise also, medyo mahirap gamitin ng computer kung walang naka-incorporate sa kanya na hardware. So, software are created using a collection of codes that instruct the computer on what it will do. And then, basically, yung mga gumagawa ng mga software na yan, ang tawag natin sa kanila is programmers. The people who write program codes. And then, we have a physical component of a computer system. Yun yung tinatawag natin na hardware. So, hindi lang yan ang elements ng isang computer or sa software. Bago sila mabuo ang isang software, we need to analyze it first kung paano ba or ano ba yung dapat, ano yung nire-resolve natin na problem. So, there's a step-by-step approach to that that we will going to discuss it later lang. Elements of programming, we will going to tackle that also. Wherein these are the ingredients to all programming matters. Ito yung mga ginagamit natin kapag tayo ay nagpo-program. And then, lastly, we have programming paradigm. Wherein, pag sinabi nating paradigm, ito yung technique, ito yung style on how you do it. Okay, so basically, why we use techniques, why we use style. We will going to have more insights with regards to this topic later on. So starting with muna tayo, software. Software, it consists of a list of instructions. Sabi ko nga kanina, pretty much useless ang isang computer kung wala siyang software. And let's say we have Microsoft Word. That is an example of software. Microsoft Word, calculator, calendar, games, video editing software, Photoshop, yung mga yan, so those are software. And meron silang, ang bawat software has capability or there is a specific task na ginagawa ang isang particular na software. So let's say, pagka sinabi nating Photoshop, so Photoshop is good for editing enhancing photos. So, hanggang dun lang yung kayang gawin ni Photoshop. Ano? Hindi ka po pwedeng mag-calculate sa kanya na katulad ng ginagawa natin sa Excel. Diba? Likewise also sa Excel, hindi siya ginagamit for editing photos. So, there is a specific. So, kaya nga nasabi natin dito, it consists of list of instruction. Kung ano lang yung ginawang instruction sa kanya, kung ano lang yung ginawa, or kung ano lang yung pagkakaprogram sa kanya, yun lang yung software na yun. And software, they are the reason why we can communicate on our hardware. So, let's say, for example, this mouse. Ayan. So, itong mouse natin na to, gumagana yung mouse ko. It is because there is a software na nagpapagana sa kanya. At ang tawag natin dun sa software na yan, to be specific, is yung device drivers or drivers. So, hindi yun yung mga application na nakikita natin na nakokontrol natin yung, for example, if you have a LED na mouse na nakokontrol mo yung ilaw niya, nakokontrol mo yung ibang functions, ibang buttons, So, hindi lang yun yung hindi yun yung actually tinatawag natin drivers, So, yung tinatawag natin na drivers is yung mismong nagpapagana dun sa may mismong mouse natin. If you notice, kapag for example, nagsaksak ka ng flash drive sa computer, meron kang makikita dun sa may notification bar mo na installing hardware. Nakalagay doon, installing device drivers. So, yun yung sinasabi natin na device drivers. Software is also the reason why we can use application like Word, calendar, calculator, games, etc. So, don't be confused. Word, calendar, calculator, games, and other software are application. Software din sila. Pero sabi natin dito, software din daw ang dahilan kung bakit gumagana itong mga application na ito. Okay. So, saan ba naka-install yung Word, yung calendar, yung calculator, yung games? Diba? Particularly dun sa tinatawag natin na operating system. And operating system is also a software. Okay. So, ang operating system reacts as a bridge between applications and then dun sa users para nagagamit natin sila. And then some other software can contain data. Okay. So yan po si software. Now, let's proceed to programmers. There are two types of programmers. Number one, we have system programmers. And then we have application programmers. System programmers, those are programmers. Okay. So, by the way, pag sinabi nating programmers, again, those are people who write codes. Sila yung gumagawa ng mga software. And not actually, ang programmers po is hindi lang po sila nakafocus sa paggawa ng software. Meron din mga programmers na gumagawa din or nagpo-program sa isang hardware. Ang tawag natin doon is micro device programmers. Okay. So, again, system programmers, ito yung mga gumagawa ng mga point of sale, enrollment system, inventory system, or they are giving solution to a specific problem. Let's say, for example, sa company, gusto nilang matrack yung order nila, they will going to create a tracking order system. Some sort of that. Now, application programmers on the other hand has types in it. So, meron pa siyang ibang types. We have database application programmers that focuses on creating database applications. We have web application programmers. Yun yung mga gumagawa ng mga website or web-based application. Then we have game developers. And lastly, yung nabanggit natin kanina, yung micro-device programmers. Okay, so ang micro device programmers, ito yung ang example nito is yung mga IC, yung mga malilit na chip, or the good example is yung nagpo-program ng mga CPU natin, or yung central processing unit, or yung processor na tinatawag natin. Okay. So ang tawag natin dun sa mga nagpo-program ng mga ganon is micro devices programmers. Okay? So hardware, this is pretty much obvious kung ano ba ang isang hardware. Because why obvious? Because it is the physical or the tangible parts of a computer yung nahahawakan natin. Like mouse, keyboard, monitor, printer, scanner, speaker, and many more. Hardware categorizes dun sa tinatawag natin na input device or output device. And then we have also what we call storage devices. Ayan. So yung they are storage devices capable to handle or to keep data dun sa device na yun. Ang tawag natin dun sa mga input device and output device na yan, tinatawag din natin silang peripherals. Ang tawag natin sa kanila. Okay? So again, hardware, those are physical or tangible parts of a computer. Yung mga nahahawakan natin. Let's proceed to problem solving. Okay. So in problem solving, there are steps in creating a solution to solve a problem. The steps in programming compose of planning, analysis, design, development, testing and debugging, and then we have the what we call documentation. Yeah. So they are pointing towards in documentation. So now paliwanag natin to isa-isa. So in planning, dito tayo nagkakaroon ng idea. So kung ano ba yung gagawin nating solution dun sa problem na nag-e-exist sa isang company or dun sa ating client. So dito tayo mag-gather ng requirements. Ano ba yung mga kailangan? Ano ba yung mga input na kailangan natin na ilagay dun sa gagawin nating system? Ano ba yung magkano ba yung gagastusin? So diyan sa planning na yan, diyan natin nalalaman yon. Is it feasible na gawan ba natin ng system yung client natin? Or pagka ba naggawa tayo ng isang system, masosolve ba natin yung problem nila? Let's say, for example, in analysis phase, since we prove na kailangan talaga nilang gamitin, so let's say na nagplano tayo and then lumabas doon sa plano natin na they need na magkaroon ng software na ganito or ng application or ng system na ganito. So, pupunta na tayo dun sa analysis. Okay? Ano ba yung, paano ba natin bubuuin dun sa analysis phase? Yung ginawa nating plano. Okay? So, mas pag-iisipan na natin ngayon dito kung ano-ano ba yung mga requirements, ano ba yung mga hindi kailangan na requirements, ano ba yung mga priority na requirements sa pagbuo ng isang application. Okay, so imagine like this, so ang pagpo-program sa bahay, kapag gagawa ka ng bahay, yung mga engineer and then mga architect, hindi naman sila kagad-kagad na yung client nila gusto ko ng bahay. 'Di ba? Hindi naman kagad-kagad maghuhukay ng pundasyon kagad yung engineer, 'di ba? So gagawin nila, they will going to came up with a plan. Ano ba yung magiging itsura? Pag-aaralan nila yung location, something like that. Ano ba yung mga materials na gagamitin nila? And then, tsaka pa lang i-design. And then, tsaka pa lang gagawin. Ganon din dito sa programming. So, planning muna tayo, analysis, titignan natin yung mga requirements, kung ano yung mga dapat na i-priority. And then, kapag buo na yung ating plano, we will going to have a design. So, sa design, dyan na pumapasok yung pagdidesign natin ng graphical user interface or yung ano ba yung magiging itsura ng ating system. Ano ba yung gagana ba siya sa cellphone? Gagana ba siya sa pang-desktop lang? Sa tablet? Ano ba yung magiging itsura niya? Ano ba yung mga itsura ng mga button? Something like that. And then, hindi lang sa graphical user interface nakafocus ang design. Nakafocus din ang design dun sa mga database. So, sa database, kung ano bang database yung gagamitin, kaya bang i-handle yung ganitong information na database natin? Something like that. So, madaming phases din ang ginagawa dito sa design. And then, once na we have a design and then naiplano na natin, na-analyze na natin yung mga kailangan natin gawin, we will going to develop it. So, tsaka pa lang natin siya ipoprogram. So, yun yung the best practice kapag tayo po ay gumagawa ng isang software. Or sabi nga natin dito na these are the steps in programming. And hindi lang natatapos doon. Once na we build, nakapag-program na tayo, meron pa tayong isang phase, which is yung tinatawag natin na testing and debugging. Sa testing and debugging, dito natin tinetest, sinusubukan yung mga software natin na ginawa kung gumagana ba sila as expected nung gusto nating gawin. So, meron tayong mga dito, quality assurance, mga QA na tinatawag, testers, mga debuggers. Anyways, guys, ang debugging, ito yung pag-fix ng error. The word debugging, ito yung pag-fix natin ng errors. Yung bug na sinasabi natin, ito naman yung mga errors na nakikita natin dun sa ating application. So, those are steps in programming para kapag tayo po ay nagpa-problem solving, okay? So, hindi lang tayo basta-basta problema natin yung inventory, gawa tayo ng inventory system. Hindi po ganun ang ang approach natin with regards sa pag-build ng isang software. We're going to plan it first, analysis, design, development, and then kapag na-testing na natin, pwede na tayong gumawa ng documentation, and then ang documentation po is ginagamit natin yan for the user or for the team, hindi lang po sa user yan, for the team to manage or to track well kung ano ba yung mga ginagawa natin dun sa ating system. So kasama sa documentation yung paggawa ng owner's manual, step-by-step procedure kung paano ba yung installation, so ano ba yung mga in-update natin dito dun sa mga previous na natin nung nakita natin yung bugs na to, previous application, something like that. Okay? So those are steps in programming. Now, let's proceed to elements of programming or the ingredients sa programming. Okay. So, sa programming, napakadami ninyong makikita dyan. If you experience how to program, meron kayong marinig na variable, constant, if-else. So, ito yung tinatawag natin na elements. Okay. So, number one, the first element ng programming is yung tinatawag natin na input. Wherein these are the data that you type na kinlik ng isang mouse, okay, na naging input sa isang sensor, for example. Okay. So, yun yung mga tinatawag natin na input. Okay. So, for example, right-click. Diba? Different ang right-click sa left-click. Pagka nag-type ka ng letter A na small letter, that is different from uppercase, letter A. Okay. So, yun yung mga natin. Pagka pinindot natin yung up button, yung up arrow na navigation natin, down arrow key. So, magkakaiba yung functionality po nila. So, that is the input. Ngayon, once na inilagay na natin or once na pinrocess na natin yung input na yon or in-store na natin yung input natin, let's say sa isang variable, ang tawag na natin sa kanya is data. Okay, data, it is a place to keep the input. Okay, so pagka for example yung letters natin na tinatype natin or di kaya string, let's say for example string is a word. It's a word, it's a combination of alphanumeric characters. Okay, once we keep it, okay, again ang tawag natin dun is data. Now we have operations. Ito yung mga mathematical operations, relational, and logical operators. Mathematical, it is pretty much yung plus, minus, divide, multiplication. Diba? And then we have the modulo na sinasabi natin. Percentage sign yung ginagamit natin for programming. Okay, so ginagamit natin ang mga yon. Modulo is for getting the remainder. Okay, so don't worry about it. On Unit 2, you will going to learn how to use modulo. We have relational and logical operators at yung and, diba? Yung and, yung or, diba? Yung less than or greater than or equal to, not equal to. So, yun yung mga ginagamit natin. Ang tawag natin doon is mathematical operator, mathematical, relational, logical. Those are all operations. Okay? So, the next one is the output. Okay? Ito yung, since nag-store tayo, di ba? We have input and then we store it. Naging data na siya. We keep it. And then once na ma-extract natin yung data na yon, ang tawag natin sa kanya is output. Okay? So, one example ng output natin, let's say, sa calculator, di ba? Nag-type ka ng 1, and then you use operations like mathematical operations like plus, minus, divide, multiply, and then you input the second number, let's say 1, tapos kinlik mo yung plus, tapos kinlik natin ulit yung 1, the output will be 2. Diba? So, yung 2 na yun yung extracted data. That means that is the output. Okay? So, conditional execution, number 5. Ang conditional execution po, it is help us to manipulate the data. So, since conditional, ito yung dito na pumapasok si if-else statement. We have switch case na tinatawag din dito sa under ng conditional execution. And then, don't worry about this, guys. These elements of programming. This is a pure introductory. So, my point in here is to enlighten to you na ito yung mga gagamitin natin in a future. So, we will going to have in-depth discussion with regards to this programming of elements of programming rather. Then, we have loops. Ang loops po is it can execute a set of instructions until meet the specific condition. So, instead na gumagamit tayo ng, for example, gusto natin mag-output, we will going to output 1 to 30, for example, o di kaya 1 to 31, kapag gumagawa tayo ng drop-down list box, for example. So, drop-down list box, yung pinipili natin kapag tayo ay namimili ng birthday, di ba? We have month, day, and then year. So, yung day, kung minsan pampamimili natin dun, 1 to 31, di ba? So, dun sa may 1 to 31 na yun, instead of typing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, up to 31, so, pwede tayong gumamit ng mga techniques katulad nitong loop para we will going to use small lines of codes lang na effective. Tapos, makikita natin na pwede natin, tapos makikita natin na same as output siya dun sa may pag-type natin ng isa-isang 1 to 31. Yun yung tinatawag natin na loops. Okay? Next and last, yung tinatawag natin na subroutine. It is the process of breaking large program and turning it into sub-programs, yung mga na po pwede natin siyang i-reuse. So let's say for example, gumagawa tayo ng isang program, and then every time na ginagawa natin yung program na to, naglalagay tayo ng header. For example, di ba may Republic of the Philippines, Nueva Ecija University of Science and Technology, Cabanatuan City, College of Information and Communications Technology. So, let's say for example, every time na magpo-produce tayo ng output, lagi na lang natin itinatype yung header na yun. Kasi pare-parehas lang naman siya, no? So, pwede tayong gumawa ng isang maliit na program, na ang gagawin niya is every time na tatawagin natin yung header na to, hindi na natin uulit-ulitin yung pagta-type ng Republic of the Philippines, Cabanatuan City, something like that. So, tatawagin na lang natin yung pinaka-function name, since it is a function, it's a function, subroutine, module, yun yung mga tawag natin dyan, again. Hindi na tayo mahihirapan na paulit-ulit yung ginagawa natin. So, that is an example of subroutine. Again, the 7 elements of programming are input, we have data, we have operations, we have output, conditional execution, loops, and lastly, we have the subroutine or function or module. Okay, so this is the last topic na i-discuss natin dito sa video na ito, the programming paradigm. Programming paradigm or paradigm, it is simply the style, yung method or yung procedure na ginagawa natin on how to program. Actually, there are many paradigm na po pwede ninyong gamitin. So, ang mas kilala dyan, yung tinatawag natin na object-oriented. Okay? We have procedural. We have modular. Data abstraction. Yan yung mga ginagamit natin. And many more, actually. Hindi lang yung mga yon. Programming paradigm. So, the point is, bakit ba tayo gumagamit ng mga different styles? So, later on, or sa mga susunod na lessons natin, mas maiintindihan ninyo kung para saan ba yung programming paradigm na ito. So, but for you to have an introductory in programming paradigm, we use it different style ng pagprogram for collaboration. Meron kasing dito natin makikita na ang programming pala is hindi lang yung leader ang gumagawa. So dito sa natin, sa pagpo-program natin, once na matutunan natin yung ng tama, yung methods, let's say for example, object-oriented or modular, pag natutunan natin yon, pwede nating hati-hatiin yung trabaho sa pagpo-program. Na hindi lang tayo nasasanay na kung sino yung leader, siya lang yung laging gumagawa. So, isa pang essence, kaya tayo gumagamit ng programming paradigm, different styles ng pagpo-program, is para ma-reduce natin yung pagko-code ng sobrang haba, ng redundant na pagko-code. So, yun yung mga dahilan kung bakit tayo nagkakaroon, kung bakit tayo mayroong programming paradigm. So again, different programming paradigms are object-oriented, modular, data abstraction, and then procedural. Yeah. So the most common one, yung procedural, and then object-oriented programming. So I think that's pretty much it for this lecture video. That is the end of Unit 1, the programming concepts. I hope that you learned something in this video. And see you on the Unit 2,